Hello everybody and welcome to Edshed. Today we're going to be looking at the Meditrapper build for the Guardian class. This build's currently ranked as one of the best builds in the game for PvP, and I'm going to start by talking you through the actual setup of the build, and then we'll go into some gameplay and actually how it's supposed to play, followed by a review of how I found it to actually play and whether or not I found it easy, hard, or what sort of skill level you're going to need to play this effectively. So, starting off with how it's set up, we have got a sword and shield as our main set of weapons, and then we've also got the longbow. For the sigils, we've got the sigil of agility and the sigil of energy on our sword and shield, and on our bow we've got the sigil of annulment and the sigil of intelligence. For runes and amulets, we've got the Rune of the Lynx and we've got the Marauder's Amulet. So that goes through the equipment that you're going to be wanting to set up for this chap. Now for the skills, we've got the Purification Heal skill, and we've got the Judge's Intervention Utility skill, the Contemplation of Purification Utility skill, the Test of Faith utility skill, and then we've also got the Renewed Focus utility skill. So they're all pretty standard skills that you're probably all familiar with now. There's nothing particularly special about how this is going to play out. For the actual specializations, we've got the Virtues specialization, and you can follow along with how it's laid out here. I'm not going to spend a load of time explaining that to you. Same with the Valor one, and same with Dragonhunter, hence we've got the bow. So you should be able to just follow along from what you can see on screen. I'll also leave a link in the description to a web page where you can find more information about this build, along with the actual reasons for this setup. But I'm going to skip that in the video because I don't want to spend forever going over the why it's set up like this. I'd rather just explain whether or not it's any good and whether or not it's any fun to play. So this is a build that is really designed to be very flexible. You've got some good CC as well as some good damage capabilities. Now the CC is probably where it shines through the most. Being able to control the pace of a battle is really important. Now one of the weak spots I have found whilst playing this is it doesn't seem to hold up particularly well in 1v1s, and in particular against classes such as the Necromancer, who can do such a huge amount of damage to you straight off the bat that your life pool's just drained before you can even get your heals off, or you can put any crowd control onto them. Thankfully your ultimate does go some way to prevent this, but you've got to get the timing really right in order to be able to survive the initial assault of a Necromancer, or any of the other classes that have really high damage capabilities, such as the Mesmer. The Mesmer is another one where I found it really difficult to play against using this class. Now, using the shield and the bow, you've got some quite good abilities to push people away from you. And using the trap, you've got options to really try and push people out of an area and make sure they don't want to get in there. This is really nice because it does allow you to control the flow of a battle quite well, and in particular that becomes very useful when you're fighting with other people. So for instance, in a 2v2 battle, if you're supporting somebody playing this build, you're going to have a much easier time than maybe if you were playing two classes that are really good at 1v1s. As I've already said, 1v1 is not a strong point for this. Against some builds, such as druids, you're going to be able to take them quite easily because you will be able to just sustain yourself throughout their long periods of condition damage that they're putting upon you. But against anything that just deals high direct damage, such as I've already mentioned, the Mesmers, Warriors, Necromancers, you're going to get floored pretty quickly with this. Now, one of the things that I found I really enjoyed with this was when people are on the back foot and are trying to CC you, knock you down and keep you away from them, Things such as the Judgment's Intervention, which is a skill that I absolutely love in most builds for Guardians. That is really good at getting you straight back into the fight and getting you piling on the damage to them again. You've also got the other option, which is, I believe, the skill Shining Blades. It's the number 2 skill with the sword. And that will, again, flash you into the enemy, and you can start dealing quite high damage to them again. And it's those burst bits of damage which really allow you to finish off weak enemies, especially in team battles, and allow you to quite well control the flow of these team battles. It also helps that with some of the things such as the condition remove skill. Whilst I didn't find that super useful, it is definitely going to help you when people are piling on conditions to you, and that's what really lends a lot of the survivability to this class. It's the ability to take a lot of like damage per second stuff onto you and then just mitigate it immediately. So you're going to want to be moving around the field quite a lot and picking your fights and picking off weak enemies. That's probably where this shines the most, is the ability to nip in, pick off a weak enemy, get back, heal up, get rid of any of the CC that people have put on you, and then again jump into the battle again, hit another weak enemy, take them out, and move on. That sort of in and out strikes with the this build is where I got the most use out of it, and I found it the funnest to play. It was this nipping around the battlefield and just you take somebody down and you get out, and usually you leave it to your other teammates to mop up the enemies, if you like, because you don't have anything to grant yourself stability, which is going to make it difficult to actually get the finish off on anybody. But you can take people down one at a time out of a fight, and you can do that reasonably efficiently and with reasonably little skill. I'm going to say that. I found it very easy to play, and that is one of the big benefits of this build, I found. Now, when it does come to how easy it is to play, I would say that this is probably one of the easiest builds I've played, and it's very versatile as well. However, when it comes to efficiency, I would put it somewhere in like the middle ground. It's not one of these builds where if you play it really well, you can instantly wipe enemy teams. It's not even particularly good if you just want to be better at 1v1ing people. So if you're wanting to go off on your own, this is probably not the build for you. If you're wanting to be in the thick of team fights, this is definitely a great build and is a really good place to start if you're quite new to Guild Wars PvP, or maybe if you don't have a huge amount of PvP experience. So I'd say that this is an easy build to play, but it has it's going to be limited towards the top of how high you can go with this build. I think even at the very high tiers there's going to be use for this in supporting your allies, but it is not, in my eyes, one of the super overpowered builds that you do see crop up from time to time. It's just a very good run-of-the-mill build that I really enjoyed playing. I found it very fun, and as I say, I think if you're new to Guild Wars PvP, it's an excellent place to start. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video and you found it somewhat useful in terms of a new build that you can use, and hopefully my waffling about how I played it and how I found it useful has again helped you in terms of what you're going to do with this build. But please leave a comment, like and subscribe, let me know what you thought, let me know what other information you'd perhaps like in future build videos, and hopefully I will see you again soon.